apparently, all we can do is talk about Donald Trump because he does so much insane stuff in a week that we basically have to devote the entire show to it, and they're all separate huge stories, right? So Donald Trump, another looming crisis internationally. It's gonna happen. By the time that this story airs, it will probably be written in stone, but let's talk about it. Donald Trump moving towards war with Iran. And where does this start?
Okay, wait.
What?
That's BS. I wouldn't, like, moving towards war in Iran, moving towards, I think that language is propaganda.
We're not moving away from it. Are we currently moving away from war?
I would say the president is decertifying. By the time this is how I would say it. This is the balanced approach to this. By the time you see this story, the president would have decertified the Iran deal, thus kicking it back to Congress and opening up, possibly reopening negotiations between the United States and Iran on some sort of new nuclear deal. Could that blow up the entire Iran deal? Of course it could.
Will it? Probably.
We don't know.
All right, so let's retitle this segment for Richard Fowler's benefit.
No, don't do it for my benefit. I just think it's wrong to say moving closer to nuclear war. Nuclear war, no
one said nuclear war.
Or war.
You just said war.
But war with Iran will go nuclear very quickly.
I didn't say that. I just said.
I just think we got to be very carefully. We got to be very careful, especially with this president, when we use language. We got to be very careful about the language that we use because he uses language willy-nilly.
So let's be as direct as possible. 5 reasons why Donald Trump is destabilizing our relationship with Iran.
Thank you.
So, what we were talking about, Richard was discussing the fact that Donald Trump is not interested in recertifying the nuclear agreement with Iran. Now, despite the fact that many other countries and other intelligence services, including the International Atomic Energy Agency, agree,
IAEA,
Iran is adhering to the deal. But Donald Trump, personally, seems to think that they are not sticking to the deal. Now, there are many reasons why this is dangerous. Richard has some. I'm going to talk about some, but the first one, and I think what has the broadest implications, and I think you got to extrapolate this to the big picture, it actually has implications for potential negotiations with North Korea. And why this is so scary as an outsider looking in, this is an agreement that is not just with the United States and Iran. It has been certified by many of the other world powers, and when the United States backs out of what is supposed to be bilateral agreement and we don't keep our word, that shows North Korea that we are not willing to make a deal. If we go to the table with North Korea and we bring Germany and we bring our allies and we bring the United Kingdom, whoever needs to be sitting at the table to make them feel comfortable, and then they look back at a month before when we backed out of the Iran deal, it doesn't bode well for our credibility, right?
No, I think that's right. I mean, I think the problem with reneging or decertifying the deal has a larger foreign policy implication. And the implication is that for the next 3 years, the United States will basically renege. We'll renege on deals that we've already made.
Sure, and it's a credibility issue, right? As a world power, you want to be seen as stable and credible. Now, Donald Trump styles himself as being unpredictable, and that's one of his assets. But when you're talking about the big picture, it's about stability, right?
And this is problematic when both your Secretary of State and your Secretary of Defense say, don't decertify.
Yeah, the people that you brought in to advise you.
They're like, we need to keep it as it is.
I would be shocked. I mean, you guys will be seeing into the future when you watch this video. Maybe we'll have great news and something will change. But all signs are pointing to Donald Trump, backing out on the deal. So other reasons why this causes instability in Iran and worldwide, and this is probably arguably the most important one when it comes to Iran specifically. This deal puts into place a certain level of restrictions on Iran's nuclear program. It's why we created the deal in the first place. Iran with massive nuclear capabilities is obviously incredibly dangerous for the region that they're in, right? Iran has a lot of tenuous relationships with other countries in the Middle East, and they're in a weird position right now. So we start with, when this deal collapses, these restrictions on the nuclear program collapse. And what are those implications, Richard?